Descent of the Demon God. By Hongzhou Weolia. Chapter 79. Legacy of Demon God. Part 1. Chen Wuqiang couldn't hide his satisfaction as he looked at the man sitting in front of him. He was a bit slurred and lacked awareness, but his power was so strong that it was no exaggeration to call him a walking war machine. Clank! Clank! Even in the cold, the red-haired man with only pants on his body was seated on the cold floor and was eating the stockpiled food. Ravenously, he put food into his mouth with his bare hands, as if he was trying to fill the starving stomach. He already ate half of the food. Is he the god of gluttony? The amount of food the red-haired man ate was the share of 86 people. Watching that, the people of the Chen Wuqiang faction were dumbfounded. Lord Chen Ma. If you leave him like that. Doesn't matter. We can just get more food. More important was the condition of the man. The monster who knelt in front of Chen Wuqiang and then collapsed. Staying in the ice seemed to drain him. That monster was trapped in ice. Hao Wuchan's words, who survived from the burns. How the man got out, how he survived in ice, they were all full of questions about the man trapped in the ice prison. The coldness of the ice was at minus 273.15 degrees Celsius. At a temperature where molecular movements would stop, this mysterious man was alive and moving. Maybe the secret to immortality is contained in that. Immortality, the dream of mankind. Chen Wuqiang began to turn greedy. Hee hee. Delicious. More. Give me more. I want to eat more. The man who ate the whole pile of dried beef jerky spoke excitedly. He ripped the rest of the canned food. Then, a middle-aged man entered the tent. Leader. Lord Chen Ma. A half-white, middle-aged man bowed. Did you check it? Yes. The man was a neurosurgeon, specializing in the brain. He was playing the role of a doctor on this trip. How was it? In response to Chen Wuqiang's question, he handed the tablet PC. The tablet PC contained brain scans and other results. You can see here. I don't know how long he has been in here, but the brain cells have been damaged. Is that why he is like that? Chen Wuqiang asked, looking at the man digging his hands into the canned food. The man was more like a savage child. It is because the nerve cells in the brain have been damaged, and he was left in that state for a long time in the cold, which is why he is displaying such degenerative behavior. Chen Wuqiang nodded his head. He did make this rough guess, and this only helped him. It is just the brain. The body is well and moving normally. Besides, he has fast regenerative power. Regenerative? The regeneration of cells is several times greater than that of a normal person. If there is a wound, he will heal real quick. Chen Wuqiang was interested in the new piece of information. The ability to rapidly regenerate without medical intervention might be the starting point to immortality. With this rate of cell regeneration, it has potential to clear the degenerative behavior syndrome, and might become normal in a month. Chen Wuqiang's expression was weird, making the doctor ask. Is there a problem? So the regenerative syndrome can stay if the brain cells are stopped from regenerating? Sorry? At Chen Wuqiang's words, the doctor was dumbfounded. Those were the words that any doctor would hate the most, to keep a patient suffering. Why? At that question, Chen Wuqiang licked his lips. 'Cause this is the perfect condition. He wanted the power, not the man. So he didn't want his original memory to come back, which meant he didn't want the syndrome to leave. Making the man believe that he is Chen Ma is all that he wanted. Hee hee hee. I am full. Nice. The red-haired man ate for 120 minutes and was now satisfied as he pounded his belly. Chen Wuqiang approached him and asked. Subordinate. Yes. My lord. Chen Wukyung called him subordinate as he couldn't know the name. Are you all done now? Yes. Indeed, the lord is the best. The others shook their heads. If one ate all that and wasn't full, then they wouldn't be humans. Chen Wukyung leaned closer and asked. Subordinate. Do you remember what you said to me before you passed out? What words? Subordinate said nothing. Didn't you say something inside the cave? Inside the cave? The man shook his head and then smiled brightly. In the cave. It was very hot. Right. Then. Chen Wukyung waited for the next words with wide eyes. At first, he thought that the man was a legacy of demon god, but no. The man said he was protecting something inside the cave before he fainted. And now that he woke up, he completely forgot it. Guide me to where it is. Lord orders. I listened to Lord very well. Hee hee. The man jumped up and tried to leave when Chen Wukyung caught him. Put this on before we leave. I prepared this for you. No matter how great his resistance to cold was, he had to wear something. On the table was a top and something like a mask in the form of a helmet. Tinted goggles which could cover the face. This is stuffy, Lord. Putting on the mask, he was about to take it off. Always keep this on. This is an order from Chen Ma. Ugh. At that, the man nodded with a sullen face. Chen Wukyung was trying to prevent the others from knowing the man's face. In particular, that person shouldn't recognize it. Never take it off, okay? Okay. At first, he didn't like the mask, but after a few times of constantly telling him not to take it off, he stopped complaining. After the preparations were done, Chen Wukyung tried to re-enter the cave. But because of the degenerative syndrome, the movements of the subordinate were slurred and unsure. Fat. Amazing. As they moved slowly, the man suddenly moved so far, unfolding light footwork. Looking at the posture, it was definite he learned martial arts. Despite having degenerative behavior syndrome, the man's body seemed to remember everything. When they reached the middle of the cave, Chen Wukyung gave orders to the others. You guys stay here. Yes. Do not let anyone come in. A treasure which was the legacy of Demon God was inside the cave. He had no intention of sharing it with others. Come on, Lord. A little further. Wait. Chen Wukyung ordered his men and went into the cave alone with the man. And not long after, they reached the place where he was first discovered. Now the flames were no more, just the ice. Where is it? Over there. Lord. He ran somewhere, a place tightly closed by the ice. Isn't that blocked? I will break it, my lord. You wait. Huh? He put his palms on the wall. Hot flames erupted from his hand, and the old ice wall began to melt. Indeed, he is amazing. Chen Wukyung couldn't hide his satisfaction. As a master at the superior master level, he couldn't melt the ice with internal energy. The strength of this man was too much to break down an ice wall. The best power. Ha ha ha. A subordinate like him was strong. He thought that with this kind of power, he could even deal with Chen Ma. Splash. Water. Before long, the floor they were standing on was turning into water, revealing a space behind. Ah! Chen Wukyung exclaimed at the sight. A hidden cave. There. There was an altar where the man pointed. On the altar was engraved the word demon in red, a symbol of the Sky Demon Order. Ha 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 ha. Chen Wukyung ended up laughing aloud. The legacy of the demon god he had been searching for was finally in front of his eyes. Fat. He approached the altar at once. It was hot. There was something on it. Is this made of sapphire? There were few things that could withstand heat for more than 1,000 years. This green color vial had to be sapphire. Chen Wuqiang protected himself with energy and opened the bottle cap. Ha! A musty smell escaped from within. It was the smell of blood. Chen Wuqiang couldn't hide his emotions as he smiled. Found it. What he waited for so long was inside the vial. Blood of flame qilin. The red liquid inside must be the blood of flame qilin. The power of one of the 5 spirit beasts and a rare treasure that could enhance the body with a single drop of blood. Lord feels good. That is all I need. The man waved his hands with a smile. Chen Wuqiang said. Subordinate. Get away and stand. Get away? What? It means not to touch me. Chen Wuqiang was planning on drinking the blood. With this, I can attain immortality. Legend has it that those who had the core of the spirit beasts or the blood will be immortal. In addition, the spirit beasts contained a certain attribute, so, if the blood of flame qilin was taken, he could use flame. This is the source of this man's power. If he drank it, then he would be the same as the red-haired man. Chen Wuqiang wanted to drink that quickly. How do I do that? Lord? Everything was fine, except for this. He has to explain every single thing. Chen Wuqiang sighed and pointed his finger at the cave. Sigh, go to the entrance over there so no one can enter, weak. It was then. The man suddenly turned his head and stared at the direction of the cave. Why would you do that? Ack! A scream from the cave. What is that? Members and workers were guarding the path into the cave. So what did the scream mean? In a solemn voice, the subordinate said. Someone is coming. Lord. Coming? Strong. Very strong. As soon as he said that, another scream followed. Quack-hey. Quack. Continuous screams. They kept getting closer. Chen Wuqiang began to lose his happy face. It looked like the enemy who invaded was indeed strong. Who? The only people who knew of this place were him and Marayun. Even if Marayun told the other 2 factions about this legacy of demon god, it was impossible for them to come here so quickly. Impossible to move as their transport was on ground. Then at such times, the screams were getting closer and closer. It felt like no one was able to stop the intruder. Chen Wuqiang looked at the cave with a troubled face and looked at the veil. Blood of flame qilin. He can't let someone else take it. He lifted the bottle and drank it at once. Gulp. Gulp. The blood was as hot as boiling water. He felt his throat burn. Enduring the pain, he gulped every drop of it. Qua. His stomach was burning. The blood of flame qilin was intense. Pack. Chen Wuqiang, who gulped the blood, sat down. He wasn't sure how, but he wanted to absorb the power which was in the blood. Subordinate. No one should touch me. He's here. What? At those words, Chen Wuqiang's eyes turned to the cave. The long shadows of the cave walls arrived. It was true. Step. Step. Soon, the face of the intruder appeared. He was. Chen Wuqiang's eyes widened. It was the most unexpected person. Chen Ma. Chapter 80. Legacy of Demon God. Part 2. Chen Ma. The man was different from what he had seen in the video. The existence in the whole place itself turned intimidating. How is he here? Chen Wuqiang couldn't understand it. He was sure that Chen Yuan was in Jinan City. And in Jinan City, a gate warning was issued, so no transportation was operating. Coming here should be utterly impossible. At his bewilderment, Chen Yuan spoke in a cynical voice. It's better if you don't wait for that brain to find an answer. Finally, he came face to face with the leader of the third faction. Because this faction was like an organization, it wasn't easy to find the members and trace the whereabouts of Chen Wuqiang. But he ended up finding it thanks to him aiming for the legacy. Greed has made you get caught by the ankle. Chen Yuan stretched out his hand. Energy rose and pulled Chen Wuqiang's body. Ugh! The red-haired man blocked it. Wu! When the man held out his hand, tremors occurred, and Chen Wuqiang's body, which was about to float, fell to the ground. Chen Yuan's eyes lit up. He stopped energy? It was the first time it happened since coming to this era. Even superior masters couldn't do that here, which meant this one had to be exceptional. The subordinate shouted at Chen Yuan. Lord! I won't let him touch you. If you bully my lord, I won't forgive you. The moment he heard those words, Chen Yuan's eyes narrowed. A very familiar voice. No way. The voice was thicker than the one he knew, and the tone was slurred. A wording that children usually use. Unlike Chen Yuan, who was puzzled, Chen Wuqiang was surprised by the subordinate's act. He stopped the internal energy of Chen Ma? He didn't think that he was this strong. A small ray of hope bloomed in his heart. If he can deal with him, then I may have a chance. He thought that there was a slight possibility of taking down the enemy while aiming for a gap. But not everything goes as planned. Quack! Chen Wuqiang coughed up blood. The man started to panic at the sight and supported him. Lord! Are you all right? I am fine. Even speaking seemed difficult for Chen Wuqiang. His body was swelling up because of the blood he drank. He said he was fine, but his insides were burning like fire. I need to stabilize. It was urgent to stabilize and control the energy movement in his body. In the meantime, he hoped that the man could block Chen Ma. Subordinate. Stop him, no, just kill him. Rather than stopping him, killing him would be the best outcome. But the response from the man was different. Lord! But that person. I feel like I saw him before. Chen Wuqiang frowned. If this was the legacy of the demon god, then it had to be passed down from 1,000 years ago. There was a possibility of the person being acquainted with the demon god at one point. Even with the problem in his brain, he still remembers that man? It seemed similar to knowing martial arts. According to the doctor, it had to take a month for the degenerative behavior syndrome to cure. But Chen Wuqiang couldn't stop being nervous. I shouldn't think of other stuff. He pointed to Chen Yuan, who was at the entrance of the cave, and spoke. Listen up. That person is a wicked person who pretends to be the Chen Ma. Pretend? He calls himself Chen Ma. At those words, the subordinate's ears went red. It was because he was angry at what he had just heard. Chen Ma is my lord. Good. He achieved what he intended to. If anger was brought out, the man wouldn't think of anything other than smashing the man in front of him. Chen Wuqiang licked his lips. That person is trying to kill me and confuse the Sky Demon Order. What should you do? Bang! The subordinate slammed his hand on the floor. He needs to be killed. I will kill him. No one will touch the Lord. He was angry. His brain has degenerated, but he could feel anger. On the other hand, Chen Yuan's eyes turned cold. You are pulling strings till the end. He stretched out his hand. JJJJJKK. Cold spread throughout the cave. Hundreds of ice swords appeared. Chen Wuqiang was at a loss of words at that sight. What is this? Then both of you die together. Chen Yuan pointed his finger at them. All the ice swords went rushing for Chen Wuqiang. He could have used Sky Flash, but they were in the cave, so he avoided doing that. Damn it. Shocked and scared, Chun Woo-kyung closed his eyes. When he was one step away from turning into a hedgehog, something he hadn't expected happened. Wyack. Flames formed like a thick film around them. Pop-a-pack. The ice swords which hit the shield made of flames, shattered or melted because of the heat. Not a single sword made it inside. Oh! Chun Woo-kyung was excited and amazed. He didn't think that it could be stopped. My lord! Do not bully my lord! The man who blocked the ice swords groaned and slammed his red palms to the ground. What is he trying to do? Bewildered, he raised his palms again. A pillar of fire rose where Chun Yo-won was standing. Weak. The pillar of flame engulfed Chun Yo-won in an instant. But that didn't seem enough, so the man opened his hands, and dozens of spheres of flames were formed. Dung. Temperature rising even more. Die. The sphere of white flames created in the air rushed towards the pillars like cannons. Quack quack wang. As the sphere of flame entered the pillar of flame, an explosion occurred. The destructive power was enough to shake the entire cave. Rumble. Amazing. Chun Woo-kyung couldn't keep his mouth shut. He couldn't hide his shock at the man who had tremendous power in his hands. He didn't seem like a human. This is the subordinate's strength. This man looked like he was overpowering Chun Ma. Within the explosion, which looked impossible for everyone to survive. Wing. A huge spear of flame appeared in the subordinate's hand. It seemed like he was trying to be certain of his kill. It was the moment he was about to throw the spear of flame. Swoosh. Something happened to the flame pillar. Like the Red Sea, which split in half, Chun Yo-won's extended hand was revealed. You are pretty good. Chun Yo-won said casually. Chun Yo-won was uninjured, not a single burn. No. Chun Woo-kyung was startled. The man was shocked too. However, he soon regained his posture and threw the spear of flame at Chun Yo-won. Shoo! The spear of flame tried to pierce Chun Yo-won's heart. Of course, the subordinate thought he would avoid it, so he threw another spear at the same time towards where Chun Yo-won moved. But... Pack! Chun Yo-won grabbed the spear of flame flying in. There was a risk of getting burned, but Chun Yo-won threw the spear of flame back at the man as if nothing had happened. Take it back. Shoo! Flames were his power, so he believed that no damage would happen to him. Flames are useless to me. Pack. Quack. His expectations shattered. The spear of flame pierced through the man's shoulder. And with that, he bounced back. Thud. After bouncing back a few times, the subordinate got up. The pierced part was rapidly regenerating. Shh. Blood vessels connecting and muscles were forming. Several times the speed of any normal regeneration. Chun Yo-won, who saw it, said, Indeed, it is you. You took the blood of Flame Qilin. The flame and the regenerative abilities. Chun Yo-won was suspicious of the man. Blood of Flame Qilin couldn't be taken by a human. Flame wasn't easy. It contained energy which men couldn't take, and without neutralizing the blood, the insides would burn, and the person would die. There was only one man who overcame that. Thanks to the neutralizing of blood with ice chi, the man who called himself the Aide of Chun Yo-won survived. Why? Chun Woo-kyung's subordinate felt nostalgia. More than 1,000 years have passed. The blood did extend the lifespan, but not to this extent. Then, the only way to dispel the doubt was to check it out for himself. If he could check the face behind the mask, he would know for sure. Shoo! Chun Yo-won's form dispersed and reached in front of the subordinate. Most people couldn't have noticed it, but the subordinate raised his flames when Chen Yuan closed the distance. Weak. After Chen Yuan dodged it, he reached for the mask. Ah! Shocked, the man moved back. Never take off the mask. He remembered the command from Chen Wuqiang, so he avoided it. Besides, Chen Wuqiang, who was unable to concentrate on the energy flowing in his body, kept shouting, "Don't take off the mask." The man who heard it tried to run. Where? Chen Yuan followed him. The man desperately tried to escape, but the same thing kept happening again and again. When he was on the verge of being caught, the man screamed, "Ah! Show your face." Not caring about the other person's wishes, Chen Yuan kept going after the man, trying to cut off the mask. At that moment, huge flames engulfed the body of the man. Weak. This one? Chen Yuan frowned. He used flames to escape from the crisis. Aha! The man crossed his arms and swung the flame around like a tornado. Now, a whirlwind of flames was soaring high in the cave right between them. Subordinate. The whirlwind of flame which was between them kept getting stronger. It's getting stronger. Chen Wuqiang got up from his seat and moved back in fear that the flames would touch him. If he kept sitting there trying to control the energy, he might get swept away. Huaquang. The entire cave was devastated. Cracks and fragments everywhere, powerful enough for the cave to collapse and bury everyone. No. If this goes on, I might die here. He didn't have the time to control the energy of the flame qilin in his body. Chen Wuqiang, who thought that he might die, tried to escape from the cave passage. It was then. Swoosh! The flames which were going around wildly changed. A terrifying coldness rose, and the flames, which didn't look like they could go down, were subsiding into water and vapor. Flame is. Shocked, Chen Wuqiang looked back. Pang! In the dying flames, someone's body was thrown in the direction of Chen Wuqiang. The subordinate. Bounce, thud. The floor shattered as the man kept bouncing. After rolling on the floor multiple times, the man stopped, barely catching his breath and exhaling harshly. Hook, hook. Ah. Meanwhile, Chen Wuqiang checked to see if his mask was intact. Fortunately, the mask did have cracks, and the color changed because of the heat, but it was still there. The mask was fine. Even this monster is not an opponent for him. Victory and defeat. The subordinate was no match for Chen Ma. Just seeing that the monstrous man stagger with ragged breathing was enough proof for anyone to understand it. The man was afraid of Chen Ma now. He is not human, quack. Chen Wuqiang grabbed his stomach as the flame qilin's blood moved inside. If he was careless in his movement and control, the flame qi might devour him. We have no chance of winning. Chen Wuqiang looked at the face of the subordinate. If this went on, both would die together. Nothing more can be done. It was unfortunate, but it seemed like there was no other chance for Chen Wuqiang to escape. There was no other way to live. Chen Wuqiang, who made that decision, ordered the man. Subordinate. Just kill him. He said that so that he could run away. However, the man didn't respond this time. What are you standing there for? Kill him, the man turned. He didn't realize it as he only looked at the back, but when the man turned, he saw that the mask had been torn off, and the face was covered in blood. Shit. His face. He tried to keep the man away from the sight of others, but it didn't work. But it didn't matter. Either way, the man was only going to buy some time for Chen Wuqiang to escape. Sigh, don't worry about the mask. Just kill him. It was then. Grab. Quack. The subordinate moved at the speed of lightning and grabbed his neck. Shocked, Chen Wuqiang tried to push him away. Cough. What are you doing? Who should I kill? What? And who is the subordinate? Chen Wuqiang's face went stiff at the voice, which wasn't slurred and not childlike anymore. His eyes trembled at what he thought. And no way. At his bewilderment, the subordinate showed his bright red eyes and shouted with pride. I am Hubong, the lieutenant of Lord Chen Yuan, the demon god of the Great Sky Demon Order. Chapter 81. Legacy of Demon God. Part 3. How does he remember already? The doctor said it would take an entire month for his brain to get back to normal. Well, that's in normal cases. When trapped in the whirlwind of those fierce flames, in order to subdue the rebellious Hubong, Chen Yuan inflicted a hit to the head. That was the starting point. The moment the head was injured, the flame qi and flame qilance blood began to heal it, regenerating the brain cells in the process. But Chen Wuqiang was unaware of it, so he was shocked. At that time, the grip on his neck was so strong. Clench. Cough. Hubong, who revealed his identity, couldn't hide his anger. When his memory returned, he remembered everything he had done. How dare you pretend to be him? He couldn't forgive the man. For Hubong, there was only one Chen Ma. I can't breath. As if the flame qilance blood inside of him wasn't enough, Hubong was now killing him. But... Pack. Hubong grabbed the man's hand. Let go of what? Hubong broke his wrist without warning. Crack. Quack. The broken bone twisted in a weird form. If not for the pain, then Chen Wuqiang's face was red because of being grabbed by the neck. Hubong showed no sign of releasing him. How dare a bastard like you seek the title and legacy of the Lord? Despite having the blood of Qilin inside of him, Chen Wuqiang couldn't handle Hubong's flame qi. That was when someone called him. Hubong. The moment he heard that voice, Hubong's face contorted. He was unable to hold back his emotions, and with tears forming in his eyes, he threw away the body of Chen Wuqiang and rushed to Chen Yuan. Lord. Hearing Hubong's whiny words, Chen Yuan had a change of expression too. Even though Chen Yuan's emotions were never shown, he never dreamed of meeting Hubong in this era. My lord, your first and eternal lieutenant Hubong is, wah. He couldn't stop the tears from pouring down. Hubong's feelings couldn't be expressed in words. Same here. Hubong. Chen Yuan spoke to him in a soft voice. It was because he was moved by the unchanging loyalty. My lord. Wah. Hearing that, Hubong burst into tears once again. Despite having the looks of a man in his 30s, it seemed like Hubong hadn't changed. Hubong was still Hubong. Kua. Chen Wuqiang, who had been thrown away by Hubong, grabbed his stomach and groaned. He wasn't feeling well. Flame qi. I am unable to control it. And as time went on, the flame qi in his body grew stronger. His intestines were swelling up as if he suffered from internal injuries. If he wouldn't be able to control it, then he might die right there. Qua. I need to get out of here. Chen Wuqiang forced himself to endure the pain in order to escape the place. The pain was so severe that he felt like he would lose his reason. Even if it meant he had to crawl, he had to get out of the place. Whack. That was when something pierced his left calf. Shit. Not only that. He felt another thing pierce his right calf. Ack. Chen Wuqiang screamed and looked at what lodged itself in his calves. This? It was nothing but the ice swords. 2 ice swords pierced his calves to the ground, making him unable to move. Shoo. As he fell into bewilderment, Chen Yuan appeared in front of him. Who told you could go? Chen Ma. Chen Wuqiang's face darkened at Chen Yuan's words. Since the moment he saw Chen Yuan in the video, He had been certain that such a day would come. You must realize your sins, right? The fake sky demon sword and the fake jade plaque. He even declared himself as the next Chun Ma. Death was the only possible punishment for those who committed such grave sins. Grunt. Chun Wukyung ground his teeth. Hatred was emanating from his eyes more than fear. If only you hadn't appeared. Unlike Chen Yusong, who begged for his life in the face of death, this man resented Chen Youan. If Chen Youan hadn't appeared, his plan would have been executed without a single hitch. Sky Demon Order. The title of Chun Ma, all mine. He could have had all that, but now, everything had collapsed. He resented the man for it. Chun Wukyung, who decided that it was too late for him to escape, spit out all the words he had been holding in his heart. From the moment the cult was dissolved until now, you didn't bother showing yourself once, but now you come up when it was going to finally have a lord? Why are you even meddling in the affairs of your descendants? Puck. Quack. Before he could even finish what he was saying, Chen Youan looked bitter. Grunt. As he kept coughing up blood, Chen Youan said, "Metal? What a joke." Quack. Right. Whether you fight for the position of lord or not is your matter, but how could you allow yourself to impersonate Chun Ma? Chun Wukyung, who was coughing up blood, raised his head and said, "Quack, 1,000 years, are you saying that it was wrong to use the title of Chun Ma, not used since 1,000 years ago, for the sake of reuniting the scattered cult? There are people who do not bend their beliefs in any situation." Chun Wukyung was such a man. He never thought that he did anything wrong. After the dissolving of the cult, the members were all divided into 3 factions, and they fought each other for 27 years. Despite enemies lurking around, our confrontation kept going on. How could such a cult be brought into one? By killing others? Do you think that by killing and weakening the power, you will make the cult one? When Chen Youan said nothing, he continued in anger. How can we know whether the lost sky demon sword still existed or not? How could we know you would actually stay alive for 1,000 years? Even if it was a fake sword, it was to bring everyone together. Bang! Before he could finish, Chun Wukyung's head was crushed to the floor. Chen Youan said in a cold tone, "I can't hear this anymore." Qua. A person who cares so much for the cult hires assassins because I appeared? Chun Wukyung's body trembled. He wondered why the man on the phone never called him back, but he was sure that assassins had gone to Chen Youan. Not caring about the man's thoughts, Chen Youan continued. And the fact that the cult has been like this for 27 years is because of your incompetence, but you put up a good front with all that bullshit. No excuse was acceptable. Considering that he was his descendant, he didn't kill him right away and heard the words. But the excuses were disappointing. You aren't even worth keeping alive. Shoo. When Chen Youan took his foot off the head, Chun Wukyung's body was lifted up. It was more painful as his calves still had ice swords stuck in them. Ack. Chun Wukyung's battered face was screaming, but Chen Youan didn't mind and put his palm on the dantian. What are you? Taking back what you coveted. What? Whoa. At that moment, energy rushed into his dantian. Atch. A wave of energy. Chun Wukyung, who couldn't handle it, bent. The energy, which entered his dantian, broke it apart. Noticing something, Chen Youan said, "I thought you must have absorbed even a little, but you don't seem the least bit talented." What? Puck. Chen Youan slowly brought up the palm which was on the dantian. Yuk. A reflux-like feeling was felt within. Eventually, the palm reached the neck. Quack. Red thick liquid gushed from the mouth. The blood of Flame Qilin, the liquid he had drunk. Chun Wukyung was unable to absorb the blood because of its attribute. Dung. The blood, which came out of the body, floated in the air without a single drop being wasted to the ground. Chen Wuqiang looked at that in disbelief. It is dirty, but it is a waste to let this go. SWH. My lord, here. Hubong came to his side, carrying a vial. Chen Yuan put the blood of flame Qilin into it. In the end, not a single thing Chen Wuqiang wanted had happened. Even the blood of flame Qilin was stolen away. Chen Wuqiang looked at Chen Yuan with resentment. The same till the end. That is the one thing I like about you. But he wouldn't spare the man. Chen Yuan grabbed something in the air. Chen Wuqiang's head collapsed under the internal energy. Crack. Quack. And then, Chen Yuan clenched his fist tighter in the air. Crack. The head shattered like a watermelon. The last member of the three factions, who dreamed of being the Lord, lived a tragic end. Even though he was his blood descendant, Chen Yuan didn't show mercy. Hubong. Yes, my lord. Burn him. Yep. Weak. Flames rose from Hubong's hands and burned Chen Wuqiang's corpse. Chen Yuan and Hubong, who left the cave, went up to the point where the barracks were set. Chen Yuan asked Hubong what he wanted to know the most. What the hell happened? Hubong was here in the current era, and Chen Yuan was curious about how that happened. Hubong, who was still happy to see Chen Yuan right in front of him, spoke with tears in his eyes. My lord was said to have fallen into the distant future. How could I not have waited for you? What? Chen Yuan's eyes trembled at those words. Unlike the Great Guardian, Hubong seemed convinced that he had crash-landed into the future instead of some random cooked-up story. Chapter 82. Legacy of Demon God. Part 4. Hubong. A loyal follower of Chen Yuan since the early days of the Academy, an institution with the role of fostering the warriors of the Sky Demon Order. Originally, he was a small clan member, but he became the lieutenant and right hand of Chen Yuan after overcoming the other subordinates. In a way, he was like Chen Yuan's friend and lieutenant at the same time. How do you know that? Chen Yuan asked in shock. Even the great guardian of the present age, the guardian of the Sky Demon Order, didn't know the exact story. So what happened? That's what the warrior Song Muchen said. He? Chen Yuan couldn't hide his curiosity. It was strange that descendant Chen Musong, who was concerned about the spread of information about the future, was going around saying stuff. It is different from what the great guardian of this era said. Huh? My lord, this era, you mean you are talking about the great guardian 1,000 years from then? Right. Oh. The cult is alive and well. Hubong trembled as if it was an odd thing. Although there was faith, no cult member would not show such a reaction hearing that the cult was alive 1,000 years later. Chen Yuan shook his head. No. It dissolved 27 years ago. Yes? The cult is? What is that? Hubong's expression changed with those words. Hubong was a man with various expressions. First listen to me, and then tell me about this situation. Chen Yuan informed him of what happened, and relayed what Ma Yun said. Hubong kept nodding through the story, and then said while clapping his hands. I think I know. Maybe it was because of Song Muchen's request. He made a request? Yes. He said that no one but us should know about this. That. What did he say, moth? No. Butterfly. Right. He said something about the future changing because of a butterfly effect. That it may cause us not to meet with the Lord. Butterfly effect. Even the most minor changes or small events could lead to unexpected results in the future, just like the flapping of a butterfly's small wings could cause major weather changes. Nano explained it to Chen Yuan. Thanks to that, he understood what Hubong tried to say. It was because of the fear that history will be changed or affected. When it came to space and time axis, one couldn't be sure. His descendant Chen Musong, who lived in the era of time travel possibilities, wasn't sure what changes could happen. Hubong. Do you know his real name? Huh? Real name? At that response, Chen Yuan was sure of one thing, that his descendant didn't reveal all the facts. Like the fact that he came from the future. Nothing. Hubong, so after hearing from him that I fell into the future, you waited for me? At his question, Hubong's eyes turned red again. My lord was alone. How can I leave you like that when I am your right hand? You, really? At those words, Chen Yuan felt his throat go tight. Hubong couldn't leave him alone, so he ended up in slumber for 1,000 years. And disloyalty was enough to move Chen Yuan's heart. Now that I have met Lord again, I can rest in peace. It isn't like I am going to die or anything. If I die, I won't be able to serve my lord. Chen Yuan smiled bitterly at the shivering and crying of Hubong. Hubong was the one who used to make him smile. Hubong. Just how were you able to endure it all this time? Achieving such a feat would require a tremendous amount of courage and mental strength. Chen Yuan didn't know that Hubong was sealed in the ice. I was stuck in ice. Ice? The man said that it was called hibernation. Hibernation? A method of freezing people, and if frozen like that, one could survive without getting old. But I thought that I would die of cold. Hubong shuddered at the terrible experience he went through. The person who froze him was Dan Juqion, who was brought in from the ice palace. He was able to make the strongest ice, which wouldn't melt unless it was purposely melted. I don't think I will ever do something like that again. You did something dangerous. Actually, such a thing was dangerous for ordinary people to do. In the future, there were safe means to defrost those in hibernation, but not the time they were in now. I had the blood of the spirit beast, so I was the only one who could do it. He could do it because he had great regenerative abilities. Hubong wanted to meet Chen Yuan even if it meant losing himself in the process. Hubong, you really are. The man could have really died, but the fact that he was alive made it even more emotional. You are so foolish to try all this to meet me. At that, Hubong said. It is because I had to meet the Lord and take you back. What? Chen Yuan's face hardened at that. It was impossible for them to move through space and time as they were in a place where science hadn't developed that far. What do you mean? Take me back? Song Muchen said there was a way to get the Lord back to us. A way back? Chen Yuan's eyes fluttered. This was completely unexpected. It was shocking that Hubong had gone into hibernation and waited all this time to take Chen Yuan back. What is that? Calming his heart, Chen Yuan asked. Hubong responded, a bit perplexed. That. I don't know exactly. What? You don't know how, but you plan on taking me back? He said that he had a divine object, which would allow the Lord to return to our time. But he didn't tell me what it was. Divine object? Chen Yuan frowned at the word. The word divine object meant it was very special. And if it was an object that would help in time traveling, then there was one thing Chen Yuan could think of. Time pack? Time pack, a space-time movement device from the era of his descendant. However, it was a disposable and personal device. If Chen Yuan could remember correctly, Chen Musong had just one time pack left with him to go back to his era. No. If the object Hubong was talking about was indeed that, then Chen Musong had given up on returning to his time. Chen Yuan felt a weird feeling in his stomach. Not realizing that, Hubong continued. He said that the object could make the Lord come back again. But he said that it can't fall into others' hands, and to destroy it before that happens. Did you hide that divine object? Kia. Indeed, my lord. I made sure to hide it so that no one could find it. If it was the time pack that Chen Yuan was thinking of, then it could never be given to someone else. Ah. Chen Yuan thought of something else. Hubong. Did you sacrifice yourself to tell me this? At first, he thought that Hubong was here to not leave him alone in the future. But that didn't seem right. Hubong said that he waited 1,000 years to reveal where he had hidden the time pack and make sure that Chen Yuan heads back to the past. Are you insane? Chen Yuan was experiencing a mix of emotions. The time pack would allow only one person to go back. That divine object. Hubong interrupted Chen Yuan, who was about to say something. Lord. I know. What do you know? He said that only one person could use it. At Hubong's words, Chen Yuan furiously shouted. You went through this knowing that. It wasn't to criticize him. It was because he didn't want to accept the idea of letting Hubong sacrifice himself. Thud. Hubong knelt down with tears in his eyes. Looking into Chen Yuan's eyes, he said, Lord, you need to go back. All the members of the cult are waiting for you. You. And Lord. Munku. Munku is waiting for you. We can't let your only child grow up without a father, right? You. Hubong began to cry again. Chen Yuan, who was feeling complicated, looked up and covered his eyes. He never felt this frustrated even when he crash-landed into the future, but he was feeling more pain at Hubong's words. Musong. Musong, you really? Chen Yuan blamed his descendant. Even if it was for Chen Yuan, Chen Musong did a cruel thing. He made Hubong sacrifice himself. What a pain. Chen Yuan was clever, but right now, his mind didn't work. Everything was messed up. Since this era was on a different axis, time was passing in other ones. He himself saw that he could do nothing in this era, which was so different to him, so how could Hubong stay here? You should have just waited for me. That seemed way better to him. Chen Yuan could have waited until a space-time device was developed and then use it. That required a lot of patience from Chen Yuan, but at least Hubong wouldn't have to be sacrificed. Casualty? Not everything would go the way he wanted. As much as he wanted to return back to the original era, a sacrifice was needed. Clench. Chen Yuan bit his lip. Lord. Hubong. Yes. Hubong responded with a dull face. He knew that Chen Yuan would be angry, but Hubong was happy. My lord thinks so much of me. If he didn't care about him, he wouldn't be so angry. He felt like celebrating his sacrifice. Don't even think about making sacrifices. Sorry? I am taking you with me. Lord. Hubong was touched. He was moved by the words he heard. It felt like he was being paid for the sacrifices he made. Lord, this much is enough for me. Even if the Lord goes back alone, I feel like I have achieved everything. Just words were enough. Contrary to his thoughts, Chen Yuan never said empty words. I will find it. A way to take Hubong back. One thought came to his mind. If the hidden time pack was a machine, then he could have Nano do an analysis. If Nano's system was locked and refused to, then he would just find a brilliant scientist and find a way. First, the divine object has to be found. Hubong. Yes, Lord? Where is that divine object? With an apologizing expression, Hubong said. Lord, I am sorry. I don't exactly know where, but I have a password. Password? And the password? Chen Yuan touched his forehead. You hid something else, didn't you? I apologize. Lord. Thud. Thud. Hubong banged his head on the floor. Despite being hurt, he kept banging again and again. Annoyed, Chen Youwen raised his hand. Whoa! Hubong was lifted up. Just saying. There was one thing that Chen Youwen was worried about. Mara Yun had clearly said there were 3 legacies left behind. Chen Youwen was really hoping that he was wrong. Hubong, you aren't the only one waiting, right? Hubong answered very slowly. Yes. Ack. I'm going crazy. His headache was reaching its peak. You people are really... He never thought that the loyalty of his subordinates would end up biting him like this. Who else? Tell me quickly. There were 2 people he could guess. Besides Hubong, there were 2 others who took the blood of a spirit beast. Hubong clasped his hands and said, Lord. Since just one wasn't guaranteed to survive, we had to go all 3 of us. What? Becky went into hibernation after seeing the kids, and I went into hibernation right away with my partner. Your partner? Chen Youwen couldn't understand Hubong's words. As far as he knew, Becky wasn't even married in the first place, and he had no idea who the other person was. Becky had taken the dragon turtle's blood, but who was the other? What the hell? Did you come with your wife? Mun Ranyong. Lord. Chen Youwen stood speechless for a moment. Mun Ranyong, whom Hubong spoke of, was the Great Elder. She was a loyalist who stayed in the imperial palace, protecting the flame Qilin's blood for a long time. Chen Youwen even gave her the highest position for it. Mun Ranyong? Yes. Hubong smiled shyly. Chen Youwen stared at Hubong with widened eyes. He married an older woman who was 100 years apart in age. Besides, she was Mun Ku's ancestor. She was from the same clan as Mun Ku, Chen Youwen's lover. This was really twisted. Even Chen Youwen, who was never easily surprised, was really shocked at this news. Hubong, you are a shocking person. Hee hee. Somehow it ended like that. Hubong ruffled his hair. Ah. Lord. Hubong suddenly drew something on the ground. Shoo. What are you doing? The password that Song Muchen gave me. I don't know what this means, but I was told to memorize this. What Hubong drew was a square. And then he started adding many other shapes. They were mostly squares and rectangles. 36 quadrangles. What is this? Chen Youwen couldn't think of anything until Nano said. This is a TQC code. TQC code? A password created in 2600. Ah. A password used in the future. His descendant Chen Musong took measures so that even if the legacy was found, the person wouldn't know what he was trying to convey. He was very thorough about this. Fortunately, Nano didn't have a lock on deciphering. Can you decipher it? It isn't possible. There is only the Q code. What? TQC code is made of triangle, quadrangle, and circle. 3 codes need to be combined. Hubong had one of the 3 codes, which meant the code could be unlocked when the other 2 people were also found. My lord, I was told that you would surely know. Right. A code which only Chen Youwen, in this era, could understand. Chen Youwen moved. We need to find the other 2. The code was one thing, but he also couldn't leave them in hibernation for long. Hubong opened his mouth carefully. Lord. Then I will start with the person I know. Flinch. It was then. Chen Youwen stretched out his hand to the east. Swoosh. Bang. At that moment, a huge explosion occurred, with the sound of something flying in. The blast tore all the tents around the place at once.